guys, welcome back to my channel. So in this video I'm going to be showing you guys how to make this built-up neckline. It's called Queen Anne built-up neckline. So guys, it depends on you, because there's another one that is also made with like a sweetheart neckline by the center. This one is just like, for me, this is like the basic one, right? So I'm going to start with my basic princess dart. You see the front panel and the back panel, but what I did here is you have to make sure before you start, maybe try to fold in like 2 inches away before you start to draft your pattern, or 3 inches at the top. I didn't do that, so I had to go back and add in. I left some, but it's not up to 2 inches that I would need, so I had to go back and add in some like this piece of paper at the top. So before I start, I'm going to just split it into 2 so I don't confuse you guys. So you see, I also have my zipper allowance here. When I traced my back panel, you see my front, you see the back. For the back, there's a zipper allowance here, which I'm also going to fold away. So guys, what I did here is, as I folded in the zipper allowance, right, because you have to put this into consideration, or you can just draft it, and then when you go to your fabric, you just leave room for the zipper. But I'm doing mine this way. So guys, what you're going to do is, at this part here on my straight line, you see this straight line here, I'm going to this straight line that starts the shoulder. And also remember, if you're making it a sleeveless, remember to take away 1 inch from your shoulder. But since mine is going to have a sleeve, I use my full shoulder measurement, which is 16 divided by 2, which is 8, right? Which is what I marked here. So what I'm going to do now is, after this straight line that I have here, which is my starting point, I'm going to go ahead and add 2 inches to it, right? I'm going to just mark 2 inches. From this point up, increase it by 2 inches for my the length of the neckline. So once you do that, you're going to connect it in a straight line this way. And then make sure that, okay, you've calculated the length. You're going to also make sure that it's also 3 inches of width. So I'm going to make sure that it's also the same 3 inches here. Then I'm going to take it and connect it this way. Almost like a rectangle, right? Increased with 2 inches of length and 3 inches of width, still maintaining that 3 inches of basic neckline. Once you do that, the next thing I'm going to do is to curve this part here, right? Give it a curve like this, because you don't want to have this sharp bend here. So you're going to try to curve this part here, give it a curve at this point, like at the point where the shoulder slope meets going up this way. And then once you do that, the next thing you're going to do is just to come down here by ½ an inch from this neckline. This is now your new neckline at the back. Come down here by ½ an inch and then connect it to the end this way. So this is now like how we normally do 1 inch of basic neckline here, coming down 1 inch. Because remember, what I drew initially is my basic neckline. I'm going to just go ahead and use ½ an inch for that part. Once this is done, I'm going to then measure what I have. So I'm going to measure from this point of my shoulder slope, go up here, and then stop somewhere here. So that's what I'm going to measure now. So guys, now that I've measured mine, what I have is 7 inches. Guys, remember, what I'm using here is just a basic bustier princess dart. If you don't know how to draw this, because it would have taken more time, I'm just going to put in a link so that you guys will just see how to draft it, because I've done this several times, so I didn't want to do it again. So now moving to the front, the same thing is almost the same thing is what we're going to do. So like I said, I measured from this shoulder going up to this point, I got 7, right? So what you're going to do now is the same thing for the front, where like how my shoulder slope is going this direction, I'm just going to put my straight ruler this way and then just rule a line. Just continue that line following this shoulder slope. Don't bring it down, don't go higher than that. Just maintain this shoulder slope line and then extend it, and you're extending it by just 2 inches, right? So I'm just going to rule the line, and then I'm going to mark where 2 inches stops on it. So this is my line here, and then I'm going to check where 2 inches mark stops on it, which is exactly at this point here. And I've marked it, which is just for me to be able to get the same. So if you see, if I measure, mine is also 7 inches here, which is the same 7 inches. So you want whatever you have here. You see this shoulder neckline here, I want exactly what I have from this when I measure this to be exactly what I will get when I measure the one for the front too. So what I got for the back is 7. What I have in front is also 7. So now what I'm going to do is just to go ahead now from where my 3 inches of neckline is, which is on this line here. So when you measure your basic neckline of 3 inches, so which is here, right, which is here, when I measure 3 inches, it's supposed to be here. What you're going to do is to measure from that point down where you want the neckline to stop. It depends on you. So like where you want the deepest part of this neckline to be, because remember the neckline, it has like a pointy part at the bottom and then it goes in. So it depends on you where you want yours to be. So let's say I want to go from the tip of this here, and then I'm going to stop at, let's say, 7.5. I'm going to mark that. So what I'm going to do now is just to also go in by 3 inches, which is maintaining this 3 inches of neckline here. I'm going to also mark that one here, and then I'm going to connect the 3 of them together, forming, like, you know how you make a square neckline, right? So I'm going to connect from here and then to here. That's basically what I've done here. So you see, from this point to this point, like this length, which is 7.5, I'm going to just put my tape there and then find halfway through, which might be 3, which is supposed to be like 3.75, which is half of it here, right? What I'm going to then do is just to take my curve ruler and give it a curve from this point of extension for the 2 inches to this point this way. So I'm going to blend it in this way, give it a curve. And then at the tail of this one here, you're going to go in, depending on how deep you want it to go in. I might do 1 inch, I might do 1.25. So I'm just going to do 1.25 in this way, right? So I'm going to do 1.25 because I want it to come in a little bit more. And then once you've done that, you can just do 1 inch if you want to. I'm also going to connect from that point now down to the end here. So you connected the first one from here to here, but then at the tail of that line, you went in, like you went in from the edge. After this straight line now, you went in from this point to 1 inch or 1.25, whatever you want to go in by. And then that's now your new point. You're going to go from that point now to the end of the paper, to the tip here. So that's what we're going to do. But you will find that once you do that, this part here is going to have like this sharp end, which is not what you want. So you're going to try to blend it in. I actually took mine in a little bit more, so that when I take away what I used to blend it in, I might still be left with at least 1 inch or so, right? So what you're going to do now is just to give it a curve in here. So guys, that's basically how you do this. So guys, at this point, you can just go in now and mark half an inch for the shoulder, like this. Just draw in like half an inch this way. But I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to use the body of the clothes, the only parts, and then also the neckline. You can also go in and draw in half an inch all over this way to use it as your seam allowance. But I'm just going to stick with the pattern. I'm not going to be doing that because I use like less than half an inch to sew it. So even if I cut and sew directly on my fabric, for the facing you're going to use to turn it over, it won't matter. The only place I'm going to be adding my half an inch is just at the shoulder, because because this is a bustier and I don't want to use half an inch to sew the shoulder and then my under bust to pull up more, so it will not be where it's supposed to be. Because as you can see, I already have half an inch for the waist here, and then I have my shoulder to my under bust. If I don't add half an inch for the shoulder and I just take away from this here to pull it up, if my under bust was at 15, if I take away half an inch now, it will go up to 14.5, which is not what you want. So because of that, I'm just going to add my seam allowance at the shoulder. Only the shoulder is where I'm going to be using extra seam allowance, right? But if you want, you can also draw in your half an inch like this, how I've done here for your neckline and all. So I'm just going to draft this here, and like I said before, my shoulder is this part is going to be, I'm going to have a sleeve there. So let me also do the same thing here. So once you've done this on this shoulder at the front, you also need to add it for the back too. So I'm going to do that here. So join 1/2 inch to the neckline here. The same thing going up this way. So guys, you see what we need here. So this is it for the back. You see, I just have to join this back when I trace out the paper. When I trace it out on my fabric, this is the fabric I'm going to be using. You might need about 3 yards of fabric here. And then this is the front. As you can see, you just cut out this part and also this part. You see what the neckline looks like. And remember, the center part is going to be on a fold. Right, the center part is going to be on a fold. So guys, basically this pattern here, all you have to do is just get your princess dart ready and then make a little changes to the top part of it, right? So once that is done, another thing that I'm going to do here is just to go ahead and cut out the back. I was supposed to do this before, right? So this is just to help my zip relax better. So I'm going to go in now at the back here. I'm going to go up by 1 inch from the lower back here. It depends on you what you want to join to the bottom of this. You can add a pencil dress to it. You can add a pencil skirt to it and it'll be a pencil dress. You can add you can even add like a gather, you can add like a circle, you can add like a box plate. The main purpose of this video is just to show you guys this upper part of it, which is the neckline. So guys, once you've gone up by 1 inch, the next thing you're going to do is to blend it into the side this way. So from this 1 inch here, this will help my zip at the back. Sorry, you're supposed to mark this here on your, you're supposed to bring out this 1 inch. Guys, don't forget this zipper part here. And also remember, the reason why we hid this here is just so it doesn't confuse us when we are drawing out this 7 inches neckline here, right? So what I'm going to do now is, again, I'm going to go back in and mark my 1 inch. Mark it on your zipper part. So I'm going to go ahead and mark the 1 inch here. And then I'm going to blend it into the side. This way. And then once I blend it in, I'm going to go ahead and cut it off. This is to reduce the back, because remember your back is quite shorter than the front, right? Your shoulder to your waist at the back is shorter than your shoulder to your waist in front, because the front has the bust and the back doesn't have anything. So now that I've done that, I can go ahead now and remove this again. So I'm just going to go back and remove this. So you see, it's done. So all I have to do is go and trace it. So guys, you see what I have here? I've gone ahead and traced it out. Guys, it depends on you what you want to use. You can use lining, but I'm using my fabric just to make interface, because I don't really have lining at the moment. So this is what I'm going to do here. So this is the back panel, and as you can see, I also cut out just a shorter piece of it, right? So if I place this, this is what it would look like. Like this is my back panel here. You see? This is it here, exactly what it's supposed to be. No extra seam allowances, because I only seam allowance I've already added on the paper. So if I take it out now, you'll see that I also marked out the neckline, right? This bias here, this facing here is just basically the neckline here, part of it, then 2 inches down, and then a little bit going down towards the zipper, because this is where the zip is supposed to be. You see the neckline, the shoulder part, and then here. You're also going to go ahead and iron this stay into it, right? So this is what I'm using. This is the facing for this one. And then also for the front, if you look, you'll see this is it here, right? Exactly what it's supposed to be, like the paper, you see? And then what I did is you're going to cut it on a fold. So what you're going to do now is just to open this up. So let me show you. You're going to open this up this way, and then you're going to, you see, I also cut out the facing, which is this one on top now. I'm going to place it this way on it. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it, and then I'm going to sew the neckline. So I'm going to sew from here using 1/2 inch this way, and then I get to this point, and then I'm going to tuck it inside of it, right? This is just to help me finish up my neckline. But before I do that, I'm going to iron in this stay. right, so that it will give the collar some hold to stand, because the whole point is like it's a built-up neckline. So you need to iron this inside on top of this, and then you're going to use it to turn this over. So once you sew this neckline part of it, now you're going to turn it inside and iron it down again. So guys, this is it here. So you see, I've finished the bustier part, join it together, and then I also joined one side of the shoulder so I can show you guys. So you see, this part is already built up this way. So basically what I did is just to join my facing. You see, I've joined. Guys, if you want, you can use lining. The whole point is that you're going to still iron this to your lining, but guys, it's better to also because I'm using the thick one, not the light one, the thick one. So I try to avoid ironing it up to where I will join the stitch. So like I left like half an inch on at the edges, like so that I can use it to join this to the cloth, so this thickness will not get to the edge here, right? So this is what it looks like at the moment. If you're using lining, it's still the same concept. Just iron this in onto the lining and then use it to fold on your clothes. So this is the other side of the shoulder, the back. So you see what I did here? I just joined this tip here and then left this part that is going to be joined to the cloth. So all I have to do is just to take it the way it is, and then this side, I'm going to take this point, join the two of them together, right? And then the facing is going to join to the facing, the fabric is going to join to the fabric. So once you do that, you have something that looks like this side. You see, my facing joined to the facing here, facing to facing, fabric to fabric, and that's basically how I got this side. And then if you do that, you're going to get the same thing. So guys, once you finish that, now all you have to do, I'm going to set this aside. Like I said, I'm using a sleeve for mine. You're going to cut a basic sleeve. Guys, the main purpose of this video was just to show you guys this neckline. So all you have to do now is just like I did here, is just to come down 4 inches, and then I'm going to mark a straight line across from here to here. I'm just giving it a basic sleeve. So all you're going to draw is just a basic sleeve. Find halfway through that. For me, it's going to be about 5.5 here. Give it a curve above this way, curve below. Insert your sleeve width, whatever that is. Add 1 inch of sewing it. Connect it this way, and then you're going to cut your sleeve. So guys, another thing I'm going to do is, just so that this facing doesn't come up, which I know it will not come up because this thing is making it like lay flat, but just in case, what I'm going to do is to take this tape, this glue tape this way, put it inside of it and just iron it down. It's going to make the facing stick to the fabric, but you only do this after you've joined the neckline. Like how this part is already done, that's the only time I can do this, because if I stick this together, I can't open it back to join the shoulders. So you have to be sure that you've already joined it. It looks something like this. Then you can take this tape and then come down to the edge here, and then take your iron and just iron it down. As you're ironing it, this thing is melting and sticking the two sides of the fabric together. So guys, once you finish that, you join your box pleats. Guys, you see what the neckline looks like I was telling you guys. So see the back of the neckline. You see it goes up this way. If you guys can see, it goes up just straight to the top this way. And then you see in front, it has this thing here. And just the main purpose of that, the thing we ironed in, is just to help it stand. So you see, this is the body of the dress here. Let me turn the back so you guys can see. Like I said, you can always use lining if that's what you are comfortable with. So that's basically it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Guys, please like, share and subscribe. Bye.